marshmallow baits, worms, and the one that got away. What is going on, you outdoor mavericks? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about summer trout fishing tips. Growing up, I looked forward to trout fishing with my family on every vacation we took. Whether in Central Oregon or on the North Oregon coast, we always made sure we brought the fishing rods and plenty of baits and snacks with us. And my personal favorite snack was always gummy worms because you could use them as bait and try to catch a trout or two. Of all the times of the year, trout fishing is the best in the summer. The longer days allow you more time to catch trout, access to high mountain lakes, and the warm weather brings out the bugs for endless casts with the fly rod. So whether you are fly fishing a river, trolling in a lake, casting a bait or spinners from the bank, or hiking 7 miles into a mountain lake, you need to incorporate these top 10 summer trout fishing tips. Number 10. Fish larger and brighter presentations after big rain. Now, we've all been fishing on those summer days when it's sunny with no clouds one minute and the next it's raining buckets. And on those days or days after lots of rain, size up your baits and use brighter baits. Large amounts of rain can quickly make the water off color and the trout will respond better to bigger baits in those water conditions. Whether sizing up flies, power bait, big spinners, or eggs, be cognizant of the clarity of the water you're fishing. The more chocolate brown the water, the bigger bait you need to fish. And just as important, fish bright colors. Summer trout will respond to chartreuse, pink, orange, yellow, silver, and gold when the off-color water conditions come after significant rain. And this is especially critical in rivers, creeks, streams, and small ponds. The first thing I do before I send out my first cast is to survey the water conditions. Look at the flow, the water color, and see how much debris is in the water before choosing your bait color. And my favorite bait color to use in off-water conditions is chartreuse. Just make sure you don't leave the only jar of chartreuse dough bait on the side of the gunnel when a big wake comes by. Number 9. Nightcrawler and garlic scents are your friend. Summertime means warmer weather and warmer water, and the two scents that trout can't resist in the summer are nightcrawler and garlic. No matter what sporting goods store you stop at in the summer, every store has nightcrawlers and worms available, and the trout can't resist. Not only can trout smell worms in the water, but the movement nightcrawlers have under the water gets the attention of the trout. And I love fishing worms on small ponds and in creeks under bobbers. But don't overlook using rooster-tail nightcrawler scent to add to baits like spinners, power bait, and plastic worms. And on a personal story, as a kid, I hated worms, so I would always make my dad bait my hooks. I wouldn't call it a fear, but the worms freaked me out. It was probably the nightmares I got from reading How to Eat Fried Worms. Ugh. Number 8. Find key fly fishing target areas. Fly fishing for summer trout comes down to two key factors. First is the fly selection, second is the location and water you fish. Trout fishing with a fly rod in the summer comes down to 4 sections of rivers, creeks, and streams with the highest percentage chance to catch trout. The upper sections of the river and the streams, the turbulent water, heavy canopied sections, and dredge deep pools. Now, finding some of these will take some exploring, looking at maps, and seeing where all the cars are parked along the road. You can always tell a good fishing spot when there's multiple vehicles pulled off on the road next to flowing water. But always pay attention to the road instead of the river and seeing where the people are fishing. You don't want to have to explain to your insurance agent why you keep getting into accidents trying to find fishing spots. Number 7. Find the thermocline. Yes, we are going to go back to 7th grade science class on this one. Now let's get scientific for a minute. What is a thermocline? Well, a thermocline is the layer of water between the top water layer that gets sunlight all day and the bottom water layer that gets no sun at all. Now, why is this important? Well, the upper column of the water gets sun but has no oxygen, and the lowest part of the water has the most oxygen. But the middle layer, aka the thermocline, is the sweet spot where fish, bait, and vegetation can thrive, and that's where you'll find the trout. The thermocline plays a key role in summer trout fishing on rivers and big lakes the most. It could be as shallow as 8 feet and as deep as 150 feet. But when you do find it, you will find the trout. Just don't dare somebody to jump in the water and find the thermocline. Don't ask me how I know. Number 6. Fish inlets and outlets. Now, there are some days trout fishing where you find the right location and you land on them. Other times you're in a good spot, but they aren't biting. Trout fishing can be a game of the best opportunities when trout fishing. And fishing the inlets and outlets give anglers a high percentage chance of finding and hooking trout. First, inlets and outlets have higher trout food supply like bugs and grubs. Second, the small amount of flow in the current keeps the water cooler and holds the trout. Third, the water flow provides more oxygen for the trout. The ultimate trifecta for trout anglers. And if After fishing a new place, e-scouting is a great way to find these inlets and outlets to help you find high percentage trout locations. And if you have apps like Onyx Maps, add some pins to the inlet and outlet fishing spots so you can use the offline mode in these apps and save your phone battery. Otherwise, we may have to hear about the big one you caught but your phone died so you don't have a photo story. Sure, you caught that 24-incher and you don't have a photo. Number 5. Fish large baits. Trout are cold-blooded, meaning the colder the water, the less they feed. The warmer the water, the more they feed. So when that spring to summer trout fishing transition happens, you should size up and use big baits. From bigger worms, bigger eggs, and larger amounts of power bait, make sure you size up your presentation. Maybe not jumbo size, but larger than the baits you use in the springtime. And this is a great time to fish with marshmallows. Of all the baits I fish throughout the year, I have always found it a fun challenge to fish with marshmallows in the summer. And a great activity with your kids is to make your own marshmallow baits at home before heading out. Now, I have a video where I make my own homemade trout bait, which I'll leave in the description below for any angler wanting a new trout fishing challenge. Make your own bait and go fish with it. But just make sure to label it as fishing bait. That would have helped my brother before eating half a jar of colored marshmallows flavored with corn. Let's just say it was summer lake trout sickness the rest of the day. Number 4. Flies are the ticket. The first thing I think of when I hear summer trout fishing is fly fishing. Heading out to a river or a creek early, no self-service, just you and the water making cast after cast, losing track of time and finding that 20-inch rainbow or brown trout. And there's one bait that rules them all when it comes to summer trout fishing, and that's flies. Now, there are so many different flies, colors, styles, and fly anglers are so specific with what they like. But for any of you anglers out there that have never swung a fly rod, using the long summer months is a great time of the year to learn how to fly fish. The best ways to learn are always watching videos, but don't overlook local fly shops to talk and learn from experts, and even going out with a professional guide who is great with teaching anglers how to fly fish for the first time. And always be nice and tip your guide. They are the best and a great resource to make connections in the fishing industry. Number 3. Fish early, fish late. For all you midday nappers, this tip is for you. When it comes to any body of water, you will get more summer trout bites in the early morning and very late in the day before sunset. One of the key factors being the bug activity is greater during these time periods of the day. Second, fishing before the sun gets on the water or when it's setting will change the trout into feed mode. When the sun isn't pelting the water, it could change the water temp by degrees, which could be the difference between bites and no bites. Personally, I like fishing early in the morning. My goal is always to get on the water and be fishing before anyone else, because being on the water first means you have first crack at the trout. And there's been days where I'll go fish early, nap all day, then fish in the evening and have 20 plus trout days. So if you see me jumping off the water at 9 a.m. and you're thinking, what in the heck is this guy doing? You really should be asking yourself, did I miss the bite already? So for all you I'm gonna sleep in summer anglers, I'll catch you later. Number 2, avoid pressure. Oh yes, it's summer and all the recreational boaters are out. Or your favorite fishing spot is packed elbow to elbow with anglers. Cool. Summer trout fishing can be difficult on bodies of water that have a lot of pressure from anglers, recreational boaters, and people just floating the river. So what do? Find new spots to fish. Hiking into high mountain lakes is a great option. Fish places along creeks or rivers off the beaten path. And this is where e-scouting and using state fish and wildlife information is useful. Find areas or bodies of water away from high pressure areas. For me personally, this was a challenge at first, but it's helped me explore new areas and find fishing spots that have produced epic days. And just make sure to bring a backup phone charger to find your way out of the woods from the river. Don't ask me how many times I've been lost with a dead phone in the woods. And number 1, fish deeper water. When I am out trout fishing in the summer, I see it all the time where anglers are fishing in too shallow water. And the tactics that worked in the spring with the cooler waters is no longer working. Remember, trout are cold-blooded. Trout like to hang out in water that's 55 to 60 degrees. And when those long summer days hit 100 degrees outside for a week straight, you have to find deeper waters. When you go out fishing in the summer, look at these 3 things before wetting your line. What's the water clarity? What's the flow? And how warm is the water? Even before you make a cast, understanding the water temperature will help you be tactical and figure out the perfect spot to cast where the fish are hanging out. Finding deeper water may mean running downriggers when trolling, using heavier weighted spinners, and even sizing up to a half-ounce sliding weight to cast your bottom rig even farther, and even fishing with a jig. So go find yourself some deeper waters and get jiggy with it. Alright, and that's my top 10 summer trout fishing tips. I hope you guys got some information out of today's video. Trout fishing in the summer is so much fun. It's always a fun time to get out with the family, get outdoors, and create new adventures. And it's always a great time to bring an extra pair of pliers with you. Don't ask me how I know about that one. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget, and as always you guys, the outdoors is a gift, share it with others.